Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Doesn't matter what time you're watching me. How are you doing today? Well, I'm doing great. For those that doesn't know me, my name is Coach Ida Cirino Lee. I'm a holistic health practitioner and integrity nutrition coach that have worked over 28 years in the healthcare field as a registered medical assistant and a laboratory technologist. I have been doing that for over 28 years in oncology, internal medicine, and urgent care. And my passion is to help individuals and equip them to prevent, control, and reverse chronic diseases. So today we're going to be talking about nutrition one-on-one. Okay. But before I do this, and we go through the teaching of today, I want to give you the definition of nutrition. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is the process of consuming, digesting, and utilizing nutrients from food for the function, maintenance, and health of our bodies. You hear that? Health of our bodies. So why is it? I want you to answer this question for me, okay, or answer for yourself. Why is it that if the nutrition is so important, it's the one that maintain our body, okay, and help with the functions of our body, okay, and keep us healthy? Why is it that in mainstream medicine, they don't consider our nutrition first before they give us medications and drugs and chemicals? When our body cannot function without the right nutrition. The nutrition is what's going to make our body function the way that it's supposed to be. So how come they don't do that? I don't know why not. That's what I always say to everybody that listens to me, that the doctor is responsible of your sick care, but you, yes, you, the one watching me, are responsible of your health care, real health care. So let's go and do this. Let's do this now. Let's do this now. So nutrition one-on-one. We're going to be discussing detox later, but we're going to start with the nutrition. So let's go to the next slide. So what are the 6 classes of nutrients that you're going to find in your food? You're going to find carbohydrates. You're going to find fats. You're going to find proteins. You're going to find vitamins. You're going to find mineral. You're going to find water. And they forgot one more. I forgot one more there, which are phytonutrients. Okay? So let's start with the carbohydrates. The carbohydrates is the one that's going to give you the sugar, the glucose, that's going to your body going to use as energy. Okay. The fats are the ones that are all around your cells, create the cell wall, and have all other functions. And it's the last source of energy that our body uses. Then we have the proteins. But I want to talk a little bit about the vitamins first and minerals, since I don't get to spend more in other slides about vitamins and minerals. So what is the function of the vitamins? Okay. One of the functions of the vitamins is to help you with the growth and development of your body. It helps you with energy. It protects your body against oxidative stress and inflammation. It supports your body and your immune system. It regulates your blood health, your bone health. And these are only some of the things that vitamins do in the body. So is that important? How come they don't check on all the different vitamins deficiencies that we might have? I have no idea why they don't check. Next, what are minerals? What are the function of the minerals? So the minerals have a lot to do with the muscle and nerve transmission, regulation of fluids, blood regulation, enzyme function, hormone production, and metabolic processes. So if you're listening to me right now and you're a woman that's going to perimenopause right now and menopause, you know the important for us to have the right minerals so that we can make the right amount of hormones that we need in order to stay balanced. Okay, so those are the things. And then you got the water, because you know that we are at least a good 60-70% water. So we need water for the cleanup of your body, to hydrate. For many functions in your body, you need the water. And then phytonutrients are nutrients that are in the colors of our veggies, our vegetables, and our plant foods. Okay, and those phytonutrients, they have a lot of different type of phytonutrients. They got polyphenols, antioxidants, flavonoids, and most of their jobs usually have to do with prevention of disease, prevention of cancer, prevention of inflammation, prevention of oxidative stress, and many other things. So that's why it's so important for us to give our body the right foods. Remember when I give you the analogy of you are the company, that you are the company, and your cells are your employees, and your organs are your machinery, and your systems are the departments, and your brain the human resources. And if you give, and I ask you, are you giving your employees everything that they need so they can work right? So these are the things that you need to give to your cells, your employees: the carbohydrate, the fats, the protein, the vitamins, the mineral, the water, and the phytonutrients, in order for your cells to work in the highest healing potential. Give me just 1 second that my battery is dying, and I have to hook it up here. Okay, I'm back. Let's go to the next. So we'll start with the carbohydrates. We know that the carbohydrates are the ones that give you energy and include sugars, starches, and fibers. So everything that has flour is a carbohydrate. Okay, a lot of the fruits are also carbohydrates. Also, we have two types of carbohydrate. We got the simple sugars, and we also have the starches. The simple sugars are the ones that the body uses right away. Okay, he doesn't have to do many things to metabolize and get it used. So they use it right away so that you can have the energy. That's why when you eat something that have sugar, you get the hype right away. But then because you use it right away, as soon as you get that hype, that's also how you're going to get that down. And then you have the starches or complex carbohydrates. Those are carbohydrates that can hype up your sugar. Okay, if you're taking too many of them, or it's a particular food that have a lot of starch, for example. But also it takes a little more work for the metabolism to metabolize it, and because you need a little bit more work, then it doesn't creep up your sugar all at once. It goes little by little by little. The ones that usually do that is things that are high in fiber. Okay, but some of the ones that have more starches, because today they, for example, rice, they take all the husk and all the vitamins on it, so you only have the starch. Okay, or when you eat French fries, you usually only have the starch. Okay, and there's so many other ones that do, like bread and cakes and stuff like that, that they will increase your sugar right away. Okay, so it's very important that you differentiate what are the simple carbohydrates and what are the complex carbohydrates. Okay, and the job of the carbohydrates to give you energy. So it's the first source of energy that the body uses. Okay, what are good versus bad? That's what I was talking to you before. The complex carbohydrates are the good ones, like beans and legumes and uh, well, brown rice, for example. Those are things that are complex carbohydrate that is going to slow your sugar little by little. What happened with the food industry is that in order to make it where the things don't get spoiled right away, they took all the husks and all the things. When they took the husks out, they took all the nutrients and vitamins of that particular grain. Now you only have the white source. The white source will be the white flour, just the regular wheat that is being processed, and it doesn't have all the other nutrients over there. So since it doesn't have all the other nutrients, they're devoid of them. Now they just creep up your sugar right away. But if there were whole grains, then it will be much better, because then the sugar will be used little by little. And then you have the simple carbohydrates, or other things like candies and some of the fructose in fruits, cake, candy, donuts, cookies, many of the desserts, the lactose in the milk, syrups, and even some dressings have a lot of sugar. Okay, so those are the simple carbohydrates. Then we have the proteins. What are proteins? Proteins are made of amino acids, which are used in building and repairing structure of the body. So we need protein, okay? And then protein are also needed for hormones, enzymes, and other essential molecules. So protein is needed also for the building of muscles. If you are a woman and you're going through menopause and perimenopause, and or you are somebody that is past the 40s, you know that we start losing muscle. As the year goes by, we start losing muscle. If you're not taking enough protein, then you won't have enough, you won't be able to build and maintain enough muscle. So in the combination of your diet with a little higher protein, and also doing some kind of resistant exercise or lifting exercise that will help you with the growth of your muscles, then that will be a problem. So proteins are very essential. Also, like I said again for those ladies that are listening to me and they are in perimenopause and menopause, protein not only going to be essential for you for the muscles that you're going to be losing, but it's also essential for the hormones and enzymes. Hormones, so that you can make the hormones that you need that we're not making enough now, and the enzymes, because the enzymes it's the molecule that help break things down. For example, there's enzymes that are secreted by your pancreas that help you metabolize your sugars, your fat, and your proteins. And if you don't make enough, then you're going to have indigestion. And if you and not going to be able to get all the nutrients and minerals out of that particular food because you cannot break it down properly if you don't have enough enzymes. So that means that it doesn't matter how healthy you're eating, if you don't have enough enzyme, you're not going to be able to break them down. So it's important for us to have the essential parts and things that we need in order for us to make enough protein. So protein, let's continue with protein. It says essential amino acids are 9 of them, and that our body cannot produce. So if our body cannot produce, that means that we have to consume it. We have to eat the proteins. Complete proteins are dietary proteins that contain all the essential amino acids. So, beef, chicken, fish, they are complete proteins. And a good veggie proteins that for the vegans that it's a complete protein is like quinoa. Quinoa is a grain, but it's also a complete protein because it has all the amino acids, for example. Then incomplete proteins do not contain all the essential amino acids. Like some beans might be an incomplete protein, doesn't have all the essentials, but they have some of the amino acids, so it will increase your protein consumption. So what is the job of the protein? What is the uses of the protein? Bodybuilding nutrients, build and repair tissue, make hormones, enzymes, and antibodies, give you energy. Okay. Now, if you eating too much protein, then it can make you also gain weight, because remember that the body like to use the sugar, the carbohydrate first, and then when they don't have any more sugar to use to make the energy, then it goes to the protein. Okay, so for example, if you're doing a keto diet is not necessarily eating a whole bunch of protein and no carb. It's having a little bit of protein with a little bit more fat than usual, and then a little bit of vegetable, non-starchy vegetables. That's what the keto diet is all about. It's not about eating so much protein. Now, there was Atkins diet before, like 10, 15 years ago. The Atkins diet, that was one that it would making people eat high protein, and end up that a lot of people were having high cholesterol. A lot of people were having kidney damage because of it was too much protein for the body to digest. Okay. Then we have fats. Listen, let me tell you something. Like in 1970, they did in the United States, they did what they call the nutritional pyramid. And the nutritional pyramid, they said that fat was the worst thing ever. That we didn't need fat. That fat was worse for your body, worse for your health, worse for your bad for your heart health. So they started making things fat free and selling and promoting things that were fat free. So what happened with that? That when they started doing that, you're gonna learn how essential is fat in our diet. Fats contain more calories, so you cannot be having a whole bunch of fat because otherwise you're gonna gain weight. But fat is very essential for our hearts, and I mean essential for our health. So fat are the body main form of long-term energy storage. Fat are large molecules made of fatty acid and glycerol. Fatty acids are long chain or carbon atoms attached to hydrogen atoms. Fat are classified by the type of fatty acid they contain. Okay, so let me tell you something. Fat are used in your cell walls. It's used to make hormones. It's used to absorb some of your vitamins. It's also 70% of your brain is made out of fat. So when in 1970, when they decided that fat was bad and they took fat out of everything, and they started then giving people statins, which is a medication to lower cholesterol and remove the fat, in other words, okay, what happened with that? that problems, neurological problems and diseases and neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and dementias increase. Why? Because we were not having the amount of fat that the body needed to maintain all the cells. Like I tell you, all the cells wall, what keep the integrity of your cells, meaning all the organelles out. What you will say, doing the same job that our skin does. Is the cell wall? It's made out of the cholesterol. It's made out of fat. So we really need to have, a right amount of fat. But now we need to have healthy fats, not any kind of fats. So we also have the unhealthy fats and the healthy fats. One of the unhealthy fats are the trans fats, are unhealthy substance made through a chemical process of hydrogenation of oils. Hydrogenation solidify liquids, oils, and increase the shelf life and the flavor stability of oils and foods that contain them. So that's what they do, is that they chemically process this type of fat that they can put into foods so that foods can last longer, in the shelves. That means that sometimes when you pick up the food, whatever, processed food in the supermarket, and you pick up that food might be, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old by the time that you get into your kitchen and you eat it. Because they put this type of fat that is not good. If that fat is keep that food that long without putrefying, imagine what that fat, how that fat will stick into the walls of your arteries. This is just a thought. So like I was saying before, what is the use of fat? The use of fat is for energy, insulation, padding for your organs, cell membranes. Like I will tell you, every cell membrane in your body is made out of fat, to carry fat-soluble vitamins. Like vitamin D, for example, is a fat-soluble. To help you with your hormones, to help you with the growth, and to help you with your skin. Once again, I don't know if you know this, but everything has to do with the hormones. And if we are, like I say, all my ladies out here that are in perimenopause and menopause, you need to know that you need your healthy fats and you need your protein, and then you can maybe lower in your carb in order to stay healthy and keep the weight that you want and all that kind of stuff. So that's how important. Now, after you heard all this and how important is our the nutrients in our body, our fats and our carbohydrates and our proteins and our minerals and our vitamins for the function and health of our body. Once again, how come they don't go to that first to see what is missing? Okay, what is not getting absorbed, what is missing, what is lacking, where you're having a deficiency that is blocking a function that is causing whatever issue you have in your health. Instead of just giving you a medication that's just going to cover the symptom, but never fix what is broken. So what is the metabolism? That's basic nutrition. Metabolism is the sum of the chemical processes that take place in your body to keep you alive and active. Metabolism requires energy from carbohydrates, from fats, and from protein. The energy in your food is measured in calories. Okay? So we need all this in order to metabolize it and use it so your body can use it and function right and keep our body healthy. So we need to give ourselves everything that they need in order for them to work in the highest healing potential. Now, if you want to make sure that you're eating all the nutrients that you need, most of the nutrients, especially the phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals in the different vegetables, are in their color. Depending on the colors, the kind of phytonutrients and antioxidants and vitamins that it has. So if we go to this chart over here, if you look at the red colors usually have vitamin A, vitamin C, manganese, antioxidants, and phytonutrients like quercetin and lycopene. What they do, they help you reduce risk of cancer and heart disease, decrease inflammation, increase immunity. It helps you with your eye health, skin health, and hair health. And where you can find that, you can find it in tomatoes and peppers and beets and radishes and red apples and red potatoes and grapefruits and cherries, raspberries, strawberries, everything that is red. Then we have our greens. And our greens have vitamin K, that has a lot to do with coagulation, which it make sure that we have enough vitamin K. Your vitamin Bs, that vitamin Bs give you energy. Your folate, that have a lot to do with your red blood cells and making sure you got good hemoglobin. Your potassium, that's what's going to help you lower your blood pressure, okay? And keep it normal, and also going to help you with the exchange and muscle contraction and relaxation, exchange between sodium, potassium, and magnesium, okay? And you have phytonutrients like chlorophyll and carotenoid and lutein. All those are excellent phytonutrients. And what they do, they promote eye health, they promote lung health, liver function, healthy cell production, reduce the risk of cancer, increase blood clotting, lower blood pressure. And what are the greens? Like broccoli and cabbage and Brussels sprout and cucumbers and green peppers and dark leafy greens and peas and asparagus and greens, all kind of greens that make the green vegetables. Now we're going to the color orange or yellow. What they do, they have plenty of vitamin C, vitamin A, B6, potassium, folate, antioxidants, and the phytonutrients that they have is beta carotene, lutein, and alpha carotene. What they do, they reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease, promote eye, skin, hair, and healthy, increase immunity, decrease inflammation. So if you follow this chart right here, you know exactly what you need to eat in order to correct certain of the discomfort and the health issues that you're suffering from. And then we have the purples and blues. They contain B vitamins, antioxidants, and they contain also a phytonutrient called anthocyanins. It's hard to pronounce these names. Resveratrol and flavonoids. And what they do, they reduce also the risk of cancer and heart disease. They protect the cell from damage. That means that they protect it from oxidative stress. They improve memory. They prevent aging. And you're going to find those in the red onion, the eggplant, the purple cabbage, the purple potato, blueberries, blackberry, plums, for example. Those are the ones that have those nutrients. And then you have the beige, white type of veggies. And those are going to give you vitamin C, K, folate, potassium, antioxidant like allicin and quercetin. And what they do, they lower cholesterol, they reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease, they protect yourself from damage, they protect from inflammation and oxidative stress, they increase immunity, they promote eyes, skin, bone health. And you can find that in cauliflower, garlic, himaka, mushrooms, onions, parsnips, turnips, potatoes, rutabagas, and so on and so forth. So it is essential for us to eat the rainbow. So when you're looking at your plate's supposed to be like half veggies, a quarter of your protein, and a quarter of your healthy carbohydrate, complex carbohydrate. And you're going to cook some of it with some fat, or you're going to add maybe a piece of avocado. And then you're going to have the fat for that particular meal. And that's what a healthy plate should look like. So what is the study of nutrigenomics? The study of the nutrigenomics is the relationship between food and their bioactive compounds with the gene activities to customize diet and natural supplementation according to each genotype to mitigate the symptoms and existing diseases. For example, what nutrigenomics, what they do is they study all those phytonutrients, for example, and all those minerals and vitamins that the food has, and how it affects the genes expression. So, for example, if your mama have high blood pressure and your papa have high blood pressure, your grandma have high blood pressure, and your grandpa have high blood pressure, your brother have high blood pressure, okay, that not necessarily means that you need to have high blood pressure or that you're going to have high blood pressure. You might be predisposed to the high blood pressure, but with the right nutrigenomics, meaning with the right nutrients to deactivate and to give the right environment to that gene, you might be able to mitigate the disease, meaning that not getting the disease, and turn off that particular gene. Or if you give it the wrong environment, then you're going to turn it on and then you're going to get the disease. So that's why the studies nutrigenomics is so important. So now let's talk about what we should eat and what we should not eat. Okay, and there's an acronym that is called the Stop Eating Crap. Okay, so first, the C is for carbonated drinks. You don't want to drink Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, all those soda carbonated drinks. You don't want none of those, because what they are giving to you is a tons of sugar. Okay, one can of Coca-Cola have about 10 teaspoons, not more, of sugar. Okay, so it's a whole bunch of sugar with a mixture of chemical and artificial flavor. Okay, to activate the taste buds in your tongue and make you drink it. They don't do absolutely nothing. They have no nutritional value whatsoever. And most of them, they say orange soda, grape soda, a lime soda. They don't have no grape, no lime, or no orange. Okay, it's just a mixture of chemicals with a lot of sugar, the syrups and stuff like that are not going to do no good. Plus, they have chemicals that are not good for your body. Chemicals that are going to increase inflammation, that are increase cell damage, which is oxidative stress. Okay, making you closer to getting a chronic disease and even cancer. So that's why you don't want to have any carbohydrate. Let me tell you something. I remember when I was growing up, that when my father, when the battery was not working, and my father saw the connections have all that white erosion around it, he will open a Coca-Cola or a 7-Up or a lime soda, one of those sodas like that, and pour on top of it, and that will break down all the erosion. And the contact with the battery and the conductor will work perfectly after he did that. Plus, I saw the other day many DIY ideas on how to clean the toilet, okay, to get that yellow ring out of the toilet, and they were using Coca-Cola. So none of us want to drink, toilet cleaner. I don't think so. So no, you don't want to have that. Then the R is for refined sugars, meaning, remember what I was talking to you before about the simple carbohydrates? Those simple carbohydrates are going to raise your sugar and your insulin, causing insulin resistance, getting you closer to get diabetes and many other diseases, increasing your high blood pressure, your blood pressure, okay, and many other things, and getting you inflamed, meaning that you're going to get cell damage and getting you closer to get a cancer. Okay, so sugar, the refined sugars is the worst for you. So you need to eliminate sugar as much as you can, minimize it as much as you can. Where you can find that? In candies and cakes and bagels and breads and tortillas and flours, all type of flours and pancakes and waffles and all type of breads. Okay, and all kind of the pastries and donuts and all those things like that. They have what is called refined sugars. So you want to avoid those as much as you can. Then we have the A from artificial foods. Okay, artificial foods, and I include that artificial color, artificial flavor, artificial fragrances. Okay, anything that have something artificial is not good for you. And when they put the word artificial this, they don't put the ingredients that they use to make the artificial flavor or the artificial color or the artificial food. So what happens with that is that you're putting a lot of garbage in your body that your body don't know how to metabolize. Putting more work into your body, damaging more cells into your body. And for example, artificial colors. What do artificial colors do to you? The artificial colors increase the risk of ADHD, okay, and hyperactivity in children especially. Artificial colors, some of them, they've been studied because they might be carcinogens. So that's the reason why you don't want to use nothing with artificial colors. If you need to make something red, use a beet, and you're going to make it red. If you need to make something orange, use carrot juice, and you can make it orange. Or if you need something that to be yellow, use some turmeric. Natural things that can give color to your food. Do not use artificial colors. What about artificial sugars? Okay, all those NutraSweet, Equal, Splenda, all those are artificial sugars. Do you know that they have find a relationship between sugars and cancer. They say that most artificial sugars are carcinogenic, meaning that they can cause cancer. So do not eat none of those artificial sugar. If you are in a situation where you want to reduce your sugar consumption, or you already have insulin resistant or diabetic or hypertension, and you want to minimize your sugar consumption, then you want to use a no-calorie sugar like monk fruit, because it's something natural coming from a fruit called the monk fruit, and you can have that one, have no calories. You can use also stevia. Okay, stevia. And I like better the monk fruit because it doesn't have any aftertaste, and the stevia had that metallic aftertaste. But you can mix stevia with the monk fruit in order to get the better flavor of the sugar in your food. But monk fruit is delicious. They also have a new sugar that coming from dates and plums. It's called allulose sugar. They don't have it in stores yet all the time. You mostly have to buy it online. But allulose is another. And allulose is very close to regular table sugar when it comes to the taste and measurements when you're going to do recipes and amounts. Okay, allulose. And it doesn't raise your sugar or anything like that. You also have healthy sugars like coconut sugar, for example, like maple syrup. When it's real maple syrup, I'm not talking about pancake syrup. I mean real maple syrup. That when you buy the bottle, it costs you about $10 a little bottle of it. Okay, and those healthy sugars and honey, for example, those healthy sugars, they're healthy, but they still sugar. They still gonna raise your sugar. So I say for the person to take it occasionally, and a person that is not worried about insulin resistant or diabetes can enjoy those type of sugars. Otherwise, if you're really concerned about your weight, about heart disease, about diabetes, about high blood pressure, about cancers, you want to use either monk fruit or stevia. Okay. And then we have processed food. What are processed food? When you go to the grocery store, anything that is in the middle of the grocery store, that is not where the produce is and it's not where the meats are, everything else in the middle of the grocery store, those are processed food. Everything in a box, in a bag, that have a label and a barcode, they're all processed food. Okay, they're all processed food. Processed food are devoid of nutrients because they process it so many times and they put so many things in it that they are devoid of nutrients. They put so many preservatives, they put too much sugar, okay? They put the wrong fats in it, okay, on it. And what happened with that is that those foods are devoid of nutrients, but they have add up a lot of inflammation in your body, a lot of calories, make you gain weight. Okay, and cause inflammation to your body, doesn't give you the nutrients that you need. So adding work with nothing for the body to get. Okay, and those foods are causing diseases. So the more closer to the original way of the food, and then you cook it at home and you have whatever you want at home because you're gonna have control on how much sugar, how much salt, how much of this and that you're gonna put on it. The best for you. That's why it's better for us to eat whole foods. Whole foods. As natural as they come, as natural as they are, with God made them, that's the way that you want to consume them. Okay, and make it in your house. You want to make a macaroni and cheese, or if you can do it at home, everything, instead of buying the box that have the little powder in that. No, you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you eat whole foods. So when you looking for whole foods at the grocery store, you go into the produce area where they have the vegetables and the fruits and the grains, and then maybe you go to the meat area where you're gonna have your chicken and your fish and your steak and things like that, and then you might go to the dairy area, but not to buy the dairy, because that's another thing that is not in the, because it doesn't fit in this acronym, but I'm going to be talking to you about milk in a minute. Okay, but they have, vegetables milks like almond milk and soy milk and coconut milk, or those kind of things there, and they have the yogurts that they're good and things like that. Those are the things that you want to buy. You don't want to go through the aisle with the crackers and the cookies and the cereals and the bars and all that good stuff that are full of sugar and full of all kind of other things. And you have to be careful with labels, because the labels, they sell it to you as their good thing, but they're not. They might have one thing that is organic only, or one thing that is gluten-free only, but everything else that they add to it to process it is garbage. So you have to be careful with that. So you want to eat whole food and cook it and prepare it at home. Okay, so what is the problem with sugar? Sugar is our number one enemy for our health. Okay, even though that we need some sugar to for energy in our body, that's why we need some carbs. It's better to get it from the complex carbohydrates than from the simplex. Why? Because sugar is very harmful to our body. Okay, sugar suppresses our immune system. Sugar contribute to weight gain and obesity, increase the risk of fatty liver and disease, cause headaches and including migraines, contribute to hyperactivity and anxiety, depression and concentration difficulties, cause premature aging, cause the wrinkles and gray in your hair, cause tooth decay, risk harmful cholesterol, increase your risk of colon and prostate cancer and in general in every cancer. And the list of the things that sugar does for you, is longer than that. I'm just giving you, a synopsis here, a short list of the things that it can cause. Okay, but the problem with this is that because we eat so much processed food, even when you think that you are conservative in the amount of sugar that you are consuming, you might not be consuming that amount. You might be consuming more than you think. Why? Because the people in the factories that make our foods, they use sugar. Remember when I tell you they took out the fat? When they took out the fat out of the food, for the fat-free stuff, they need to add flavor. How do you think they add flavor to it? With sugar. Okay, so sugar is not only used to sweeten things. They use sugar to add color to foods. They use sugar for preservative. They add sugar for texture in the food. They use sugar for many things, many different things, and not all the sugars that they use are exactly sweet, but they're still sugars. And they use those chemicals in order to preserve the food, or the density of the food, or making sure that the food don't separate, and preserve the food, and so on and so forth. And so what happened is that we have no idea how much sugar is in our foods. And then to make it worse, I go to the next one. To make it worse, they gave sugar. When I did the slide, they have 56 names for sugar, but right now, as we speak, okay, they have 72 names for sugar already. 72 different names for sugar, people. So sometimes one thing that you think that doesn't have too much sugar might have more sugar than what you think. Or something that is a salty snack, for example, might have more sugar than you think. For example, Doritos. Doritos is some chips. It's like a corn chip with the cheese outside, or different. They have ranch cheese or whatever, different flavors. Okay, that you might think it's a salty snack, but do you know that those Doritos have 4 different type of sugars? You have 4 different type of sugars. Plus, it's a tortilla, it's a corn tortilla, and a corn tortilla is a refined sugar. It's a refined carb. Okay, so in total, have 5 different type of sugars. For example, look at this cereal over here. This particular cereal has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different type of 6 different types of sugar. You have the regular sugar. Well, you have more, because look at this. You have whole grain. Whole grain is still a carb that when the body metabolizes it, will convert it into sugar. Okay? So but probably they're going to put it in the label outside. It has whole grain, and you're going to grab it right away because it's whole grain. But when you look at the label, it have whole grain that I already told you it's you're going to turn into sugar, because that's one sugar. Then it says I have sugar. Okay, so now you have 2 sugars. Then you have raisins, and raisins are sweet. That's another sugar. You have rice. Rice is another type of carb. It's another sugar. You have wheat bran. Okay, that is also a carb, and whole grain oats is also a carb. That's 7 right now. Those are some of those things are the things that are a carb that will turn to sugar. Plus, then all the ones that you see highlighted are the actual sugars. So you got regular sugar, then brown sugar syrup, corn syrup, modified cornstarches, molasses, and honey. And they forgot to highlight malt, because that's also another sugar. And that doesn't even add to the fact that it has BHT, which is a chemical that is not good for your health. And they have palm oil, that is a processed oil, okay, that you don't want to have either. So this is how they sell us stuff, and we don't have no idea that we're consuming as much sugar as we think that we're consuming. So reading labels is also important. Now, another thing that you have to know when you're reading labels is that in the order that the ingredients are written in the label, this is how much they have. The first one is what they have the most, and then the second is what they have next. Okay, so if you find the word sugar between the first three ingredients, you know that it had tons and tons of sugar. Okay, so that's something that you have to. Sometimes we pick up some cookies and or some juices that it's more sugar. It's like sugar with water and a little bit of color. And then they send 10% juice, fruit juice. Imagine that they put a teaspoon of fruit juice, a whole bunch of water, and tons of sugar, and then some color. So we have to be very careful when we pick our foods. That's why I always tell everybody, download, especially if you live in the United States, download that app called Yuka. It's spelled Yuka. Have like a carrot when you the logo have like a carrot. And when you download that app for free, okay, and whenever you go to the grocery store and you want to pick something up, you can scan the barcode, and it will tell you. It will give you a number from 0 to 100, and then it will tell you if it's something that is 60 or less, then it will say that it's poor, you know. But if it's sister up, then it start with good until excellent. But it let you know if it's something good that you want to consume or it's not. And then when it tell you that it's bad, it tell you even when it tell you that it's so good, but it might have one additive or something like that, then we'll tell you what is the additive. And if you click on the additive, it tell you what those additives can cause in your body. The thing is that most of us think, oh, it's a little bit of additive, it doesn't matter. But all these things accumulate in your body little by little, causing damage to your cells little by little. And those cells that are damaged, that the body cannot correct it because we keep putting so much garbage into our body, what they do, that the cell is damaged, and it's caused damage to the sex next to it and to the cell next to it, and that becomes a disease. And and when the cell the body cannot clean them up and eliminate them, that become a cancer. Okay, so that's why it's very important for us to read labels and to choose whole foods for our diet. Okay, so this is it for our one-on-one in nutrition, and I will go next to detox in the next time. Okay, so I hope this information helped you, that you understand, that you meditate in this information. Okay, ask any questions if you need me. You can write me in the thread or in the group or whatever you need. If you have any questions when it comes to your nutrition, and make sure that you take this into account, how important it is, your nutrition, because we literally are what we eat. More than what we eat, we are really what we absorb, because you can be eating super healthy, and if you cannot absorb it because you have damages in your or the damage that you did before in your body, and your digestive system is not working properly, okay, you want to be able to absorb the food and the nutrients, and then you're going to still have problems. So we really are what we absorb. And it's very important that we take into account what we're putting in our body. Okay? Remember that this is the temple of God. And if we don't take care of the temple of God and we destroy it, the word said that he will destroy us. And that doesn't mean that God's going to come and kill you. No. What happens is that because you put in destructing your body, okay, you're going to damage your body. You're going to cause disease, and you're going to destroy yourself. Okay? So thank you so much. And remember what I always tell you, that the doctor is responsible of your sick care, and you, yes, you, ma'am, is responsible of your health care. So see you next.